Hello and welcome to another episode of Ball Around the Head. I am joined this time finally with Ben and Andrew. We're finally back. I don't think all three of us have streamed together or done a podcast in it's been a month. It's been about a month since we've done
the off season.
Yeah, so we're back though. And there's been a lot of movement in the NBA. There's been a lot of trades, signings. The landscape has definitely changed, and every team, I think, except for like two, have actually made a move. So it's been a fun offseason so far. So, Ben, in your opinion, which team has had the best offseason so far?
I'm gonna go with the Hawks, just because. I mean, the number of signings they got: Rondo, Dunn, Gallinari. They might get Bogdanovich, which would be huge if the Kings don't match the offer sheet.
No, I thought. No, never mind. Not the Bucks. I thought Bogdanovich was going to sign with, like, the Lakers or something. What happened to that?
He signed an offer sheet with the Hawks, and the Kings have 48 hours to match it. And if they don't, then he goes to the Hawks.
Yeah, so right. That one's not confirmed yet because the Kings were waiting to see what they'll do. But I think those are great additions. Like Gallinari, we knew a lot of teams would want to have him, and I actually said on the stream on Wednesday that I had Rondo going to the Hawks. I'd say he'd be a good veteran backup for Trae Young. So yeah, just it's a small free agent class. You know, no one's landing like an Anthony Davis. Like, there hasn't been any moves of that caliber. So I'd say that the Hawks are the winners thus far.
Yeah, but to that point, this free agency class is kind of role players free agency. Like, there's some good role players, but it's not that one that's going to change your franchise forever. Andrew, what do you got?
Well, I have to go with the Lakers. And if I can just technology, hold on. Lakers, yeah. So Montrezl Harrell, huge signing, and I'm sure we're definitely going to talk about that soon. Montrezl Harrell, Dennis Schroeder again, or Schroeder, whatever you want to pronounce it. Like, a great just. Like, I don't think he's going to be on the bench. I have a feeling he'll start, but it's kind of like competition between him and Montrezl Harrell, where the competition with Montrezl Harrell and Lou Williams and Patrick Beverley, like, I feel like they didn't elevate each other and they weren't really like competitors. And Dennis Schroeder and Montrezl Harrell are really going to elevate each other in a good way, where they both want to win. Like, they have a shared desire and they have actual ability to win. So I think Dennis Schroeder and Montrezl Harrell, great additions. KCP re-signing, that was huge. Like, I say that, like, can you believe it? I've never thought I'd ever say that. Yeah. Also, we got someone named Tinkle or something. The Lakers signed someone named Tinkle. Tinkle. Look it up. Lakers, they signed this guy named, like, Trey Tinkle or something. Trez Tinkle.
Interesting. I have no idea.
I don't know what he's talking about.
Yeah,
I mean, Marc Gasol too.
Marc Gasol. How did I forget to write that down? Yeah, that was today.
Y'all did McGee dirty though.
I know. No, that's my favorite.
Y'all did him dirty.
How did we do him dirty? He won a ring with the Lakers. How is that doing him dirty? Danny Green won a ring.
He dropped him off with the Cavaliers.
He won. He won a ring.
The Cavaliers.
The thing is, LeBron's still mad that the Warriors beat him, the Cavaliers. He's like, all right, now you got to go see what I had to do with. Oh, yeah. But I think the Lakers have the greatest offseason.
Yeah, actually, both of your choices are very valuable. Like, I can make an argument for both of those, but I'm going to pick the Trailblazers because the Trailblazers have not been a team with cap space for quite a while, ever since Lillard took that star turn, and so did McCollum. They've been against the tax. And they worked around those lines. They traded Trevor Ariza for Robert Covington when they added 2 picks with the Trevor Ariza, which is definitely an upgrade. I'd rather have Robert Covington than Trevor Ariza. They re-signed Carmelo Anthony, and they said there's reports saying that he's willing to come off the bench. He's willing to accept his role now because there's been reports all last year. That's why he never signed with the team, because he wanted to be the star still. And now he understands that he's not a star anymore. He's 36. His career is nearing his close, so he needs to adjust, and that's what he's going to do. Harry Giles is a very underrated pickup. He was supposed to be the best prospect whenever he was, I think, 3 years ago when he was drafted, and he had a lot of injuries, and it never really worked out. So it's a low risk, high reward kind of gamble for them. Enes Kanter, they got in a trade from Boston, which Enes Kanter played really well.
Oh, wait, he's back at Portland?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought he played pretty well with Portland. I thought he fit a lot better with the Celtics because I remember I wasn't really a fan of Enes Kanter with the Celtics. So
yeah, when he was with Portland, he went all the way to the Western Conference Finals, and he was their starting center, although that's because someone was injured, but he still played very well. Derrick Jones Jr. is a very underrated pickup. It's a solid wing defender.
Wow, they got him from the Heat? Dang, I didn't even know. He was
You gave me a look when I said the Trailblazers had a good offseason, and now you're understanding why I'm saying.
Because I know I didn't even hear about a lot of these either. Honestly.
Yeah, neither have I. Because on my notes, I literally only have Carmelo Anthony. Like, was the only, I didn't know anything. Derrick Jones Jr. is. I need to get a Heat jersey for my brother because he was like one of our favorite players.
Yeah, I don't know.
To make fun of course.
Andrew sees my Instagram, my Celtics Instagram. Every time there's a deal, I go like this, bro. My fingers are like this. I'm on it. I have barely slept these past 2 days. I posted at 4 a.m. I posted at 11 p.m. I'm on the clock all the time. So I have all these deals down. And Rodney Hood, he's coming back from an Achilles injury. Questionable. I don't know when he's going to play because I don't really know his timetable for his Achilles injury. Maybe he won't play for most of the season. But it was still a very solid pickup for them. So I loved what the Trailblazers did, and a lot of experts do it as well. They think it was a picture-perfect offseason considering their financial limitations. So that's who I had winning this offseason so far.
Yeah.
And the reason I emphasize so far is because there's some teams out there there's some star players who are very disgruntled, John Wall, Russell Westbrook, and James Harden, who have requested to be traded out. So who knows? A blockbuster could happen within the next couple of weeks. We don't know yet. So to that point, though, Andrew, which team has had the worst offseason so far?
Okay, I was when you mentioned two teams have not made any moves earlier in the podcast stream, I was thinking have the Mavs made any moves? Because I have no notes for them. So what have the Mavs done? Because I feel like they haven't really done anything to help Luka.
They didn't make crazy moves. I think they traded.
But they're waiting for next offseason, correct? For Giannis, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They got like James Johnson. They made minor moves to upgrade a little bit, but nothing crazy.
Okay, well then I'm gonna have to go with the Clippers, obviously because they're the kind of really bad LA team. Because there's two LA teams, and it's one of them is really really good, and the other one's the Clippers. So. Basically, they missed out on Rondo. Montrezl Harrell left. They actually got Serge Ibaka, which is a pretty good signing because I was looking at Serge Ibaka clips from last year, and I'm like, isn't he old? And I'm like, he actually played pretty well last season. Marcus Morris also re-signed with the Clippers. So wait, Marcus, right? We have the Lakers have Markieff, right?
Like Markieff's a free agent. Marcus is on the Clippers.
Markieff hasn't signed with the Lakers. Re-signed?
Nope.
He'll re-sign because isn't he with Clutch Sports?
I have absolutely no idea.
But. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he is. Anyways, so I'm going to say the Clippers because they missed out on a lot of opportunity and they kind of had a huge blow with Montrezl Harrell. But maybe it was good. Kawhi Leonard is going to obviously take the step up to fill the gap that Harrell left. And yeah, maybe Patrick Beverley, he'll finally not just talk and do something for real.
All right, Ben?
In terms of the worst offseason, I'd say the Rockets. They're both their star players requesting trades, and then both their GM and their head coach are gone, and then the entire franchise is in shambles. I think that's a pretty clear pick. But if you're zooming in on just the past few days in free agency, I'm actually going to go with the Celtics. A lot of big names. There have not been a lot of big names who have swapped teams, and one of the only ones is Gordon Hayward. Now, I'm not saying they should have, competed with that crazy offer from the Hornets, but losing Gordon Hayward is probably one of the biggest losses in free agency thus far. So,
I'll agree.
That's why I see the Celtics.
Wait, the Celtics did one good thing in the offseason, and that was getting rid of Brad Wanamaker. Where did he go?
Don't do my boy Wanamaker dirty, bro. Come on now.
Where did he go, though?
He went to the Warriors.
The Dubs.
He's going to take over Steph Curry's starting spot halfway through the season.
Maybe.
Yeah, I'm gonna go a little bit on the Celtics later on when we talk about the whole Gordon Hayward situation. But my worst offseason, I'm gonna take Ben's first pick. I'm gonna go with the Rockets for the reasons he kind of mentioned. Their 2-star players don't want to play there, and there's reports saying that the owner's like, all right, I don't care, play with me, be upset, I don't care. You still have 2 years on your contract. You have to play for me. And I mean, nowadays with this player movement, that's not gonna go well. You've seen a bunch of star players and a bunch of sports just sit out. Actually, no, mainly football and sometimes basketball. They sit out for a new contract, or if they don't want to play for the team, they just don't play. In NBA, you get paid. So, I mean, you could easily sit out like a Harden. If you wanted to sit out, he's going to get paid no matter what. So the Rockets, they added Christian Wood, which I think is a very underrated signing, is a very decent signing. But besides that, they lost Austin Rivers. They lost Robert Covington so far. There's some reports that PJ Tucker wants to leave, and they added like Sterling Brown, and that's it. Like they're definitely a worse team than last year. That's for sure. They're not a good team. They're not a Western Conference Finals contender in my opinion. Even if they have Westbrook and Harden, the people around them, it's not going to go far. It's just not going to work anymore. So I think right now, and especially it depends if they do trade Harden and Westbrook, it'll be interesting what they get in return. But as of right now, the Rockets are crumbling in front of everyone's eyes, and they're definitely the worst offseason in my opinion.
Do you think James Harden is going to sit out like Anthony Davis with the Pelicans? Because do you think he'll go to the Nets or no?
From what I'm hearing, I don't think there's a chance he goes to the Nets because the Rockets, they're saying they're willing to listen to trades, but they want a lot, and they said the Nets can't offer what they want. So they could technically trade him probably to like, I keep on thinking Philadelphia, but there's also reports that they don't want to trade him to Daryl Morey. So it's going to be interesting. I'm convinced that one of them's going to be moved before we start the season. It has to be because they're not. Yeah. Someone's got to go. And
I think it's going to be Westbrook, and then I think that James Harden will sit out, and then I think the Nets are going to play one season with KD and Kyrie and see how far they can go. And then in that big 2021 offseason, that's where everything's going to be shifted for real. Because Paul George is right. Paul George, LeBron, AD, no?
Yeah, it's Paul George, LeBron, AD, Kawhi, Giannis potentially. It's going to be a star-studded free agency. And a lot of role players, I keep cap sheets of every single team, and there's a bunch of contracts that come off in 2021. So it's going to be like a huge free agency period next year. It's going to be awesome to see. But anyways, we're going to focus in on one single signing that, in my opinion, when I saw it, it shocked me. Like I was like, really? Like how can they afford it? And they gave the numbers, and I'm like, whoa, he took a pay cut. And again, there are reports that he was offered more money to play in Charlotte. And I'm talking about Montrezl Harrell going to the Lakers. That's something that none of us predicted was going to happen. There was not even experts would have predicted that, but it happened. And Ben, how do you feel about this?
I mean, it's a great surprise. I mean, obviously, reigning sixth man of the year is going to be a great addition. Just looking at his game, it's not something that jumps out at you. Like he can't shoot very well, can't pass very well, but he just plays with so much energy, and that's what won him the award. So I think in that center position, like that's what the Lakers. That's what works well with the Lakers. That's why JaVale McGee and Dwight Howard have been so successful.
Yeah,
just somebody to give them energy, whether it be off the bench. As I'm hoping they put Harrell off the bench like he was in LA, and probably give Gasol a starting role. I'd like to see that happen.
Shout out Eli in the comment section. I see you.
Yeah, but I did not see this coming. I thought he'd chase some money, and instead he could have took a paycheck to come on the other side of the locker room. So it was great.
Hold up. That kid five for Stephen A is reporting that the Wizards and Rockets in Green deal principal that sends James Harden the Wizards for John Wall, Troy Brown, Mo Wagner, Thomas Bryant, and 4 unprotected firsts.
Mo Wagner? Shout out to Mo Wagner. But that seems like we were always talking about cap space earlier. That seems like it's the cap space.
That seems like a lot. I don't believe that's true. I know you're probably trolling with me, but if the Wizards did that, that'd be a massive overpay. a massive one because trading Wall for Harden would make your team just like a little bit better. Everybody else isn't really that good.
But the thing is, that would mean that Bradley Beal would stay on the Rockets, right? Or on the Wizards, right?
Yeah.
If that was a real thing, that would be pretty good.
Andrew, what do you think on Montrezl Harrell to the Lakers?
I kind of mentioned this earlier. Like, I think it's great to have that competition with him and Schroeder. It gives them. I didn't mention this, but it kind of gives AD like an option to, like if he doesn't want to stay with the Lakers long term, or at least like not for a while, because they'll have that center star with Montrezl Harrell. So I think it's great for the Lakers' future, and I think it kind of gives more options for all the players on the team. And Montrezl Harrell obviously wants to win. Great signing. He took that pay cut, like you mentioned. Wasn't it like a minimum deal or something? I don't really know the deal.
Like, I think $9 million a year, 9.5 million, something like that. But he's projected to get like 17, 20 million. So it's definitely a huge pay cut.
I mean, but the thing is, athletes now don't even get money from the actual sport. They get money from like brands and stuff, and he's in LA, so I think he'll do fine. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that guy's trolling. I'm not seeing a single thing.
We just treat it like a speculation. That's all we can do.
Yeah. Okay. But anyways, just for you Laker fans right there, they're saying Anthony Davis is waiting to see how the Lakers roster will look before deciding the new length of his contract. So some people are speculating he's going to do like a 1-and-1. You know what LeBron did with Cleveland? Like, all right, I'm going to see when LeBron leaves, and if I don't want to stay at the Lakers when LeBron leaves, I'm going to go. So maybe I think that's what he's going to do. So yeah, I think Montrezl Harrell is a great signing for the Lakers considering that price. And if you're the Lakers, you can't say no to that, no matter who it may cost you. That's a great pickup. We could probably clip the stream now. I know probably in a couple months, maybe in the playoffs, you guys are going to be super mad of how Montrezl Harrell plays defense against the better bigs. He's not that good defensively, but as Ben said, he's just that energy plug off the bench, and that's kind of what they want. That's why they signed Marc Gasol, probably to cover up those big men, and then Montrezl Harrell's there just to be that big man off the bench that can give him 20 a night, honestly. And I think it's a great signing by the Lakers. Definitely an upgrade over Dwight Howard in certain areas. Howard's definitely a better defender, but I definitely would pick Montrezl Harrell over the Lakers. So, yeah, in my unbiased opinion, that's actually an amazing signing for the Lakers.
Maybe make Kuzma work for his minutes a little bit.
Who? Kuzma. I forgot he was on the team.
Show us a little more. Show us a little more of that second year Kuzma.
All right, Ben, I'm not going to make fun of Kuzma, but this is his year to actually prove what he's worth because he's a free agent next year. Mm-hmm. And he needs to prove to the Lakers, hey, keep me, because I know he wants to stay. There's no way he wants to leave. But if he's not good, the Lakers are kind of paying a lot of money. So they're like, all right, if you suck, bye. I'm not going to pay you $20 million.
He's got to show us this year what he was, or just let him walk. Like
I think Kuzma now feels pressured, or maybe he's happy that there's another young player around him. Because last year, who was he really friends with? Like, there's nobody who's young. Like, I guess maybe Alex Caruso. Dennis Schroeder is now with him. Like, Montrezl Harrell is, like, kind of younger, right? So maybe finally he'll be able to, like, they'll all make each other better. I don't know. Be kind of cool.
Jose Lugo in the comment section said they should have kept McGee instead of getting Gasol. I agree. I feel like Gasol's old. And in the Celtics series, he got exposed a lot for his age and his defense. He got destroyed by Daniel Tice.
Who, by the way, wasn't just signed. He was just signed to max, right, with the Celtics?
Daniel Tice?
Not a max, but he was just signed again, right, with the Celtics?
No, they guaranteed his contract for next year. They could have waived him, but they kept him. But
big deal.
I kind of, I don't know. Actually, yeah, I'd rather have McGee than Gasol. Way younger. Gasol is more proven. It doesn't really. I don't think he doesn't have a championship. But I kind of agree. But I think
Gasol he won with the Raptors.
Oh, that's true. I forgot.
What do you mean?
Yeah, I forgot he was on the Raptors. I don't know why he just came from the Raptors. That's interesting. But yeah, I like that comment. If you guys have any comments actually or questions, please feel free to comment down below. We'll answer them.
And I think it's actually kind of interesting because doesn't Pau Gasol have 2 rings with the Lakers? So if Gasol got to the Lakers, they won this year. Yeah. They both have 2 rings, but one with the Lakers. Yeah. And then what if Gasol – because Pau Gasol's number is not retired. What if Gasol wore number 16 too? and then there was like Gasol. Like it was just the Gasol brothers number.
Yeah,
That'd be kind of cool.
OG Laker fans wouldn't have to buy a new jersey.
Yeah.
So Ben touched on this earlier. Now we're going to actually talk about it. Gordon Hayward. I was actually leaving to go out of town for a little bit, and I was going down the stairs. I got a notification, and it says Gordon Hayward signs. I was like, uh-oh. I opened the notification, and it says with the Hornets for 4 years, $120 million. Whoa. Like, that's something no one saw coming for Hayward, who has struggled to be healthy these past couple years. And wow, I'm shocked by. I was shocked, and I still am shocked by it. But anyways, It occurred, and Hayward is on the Hornets. And I'm going to take over this one first because, I mean, this affects my team, as Ben mentioned a lot. And I've been dealing with Celtics Twitter for the past 2 days, and oh my goodness, man. Yesterday, after Hayward left, I told everyone, relax. And later in the day, they signed Jeff Teague and Tristan Thompson, which definitely upgraded their team. I think Tristan Thompson is a huge upgrade over Enes Kanter by far. Jeff Teague, he's going to be a spot-up starter because Kemba's knee's questionable, so it's kind of a good six-man spot-up starter kind of signing. But what Ben mentioned, we lost Hayward for nothing. The past 2 years, we've lost Kyrie, Al Horford, and Gordon Hayward, and we've got nothing in return. Although there's some talks we're going to do a signing trade with the Hornets. Yeah.
It's 8:24. Honestly, respect to the Mamba. But all right, keep going.
All right, I respect that. I lost my train of thought, though.
Tristan Thompson, better signing than Enes Kanter, like blah, blah, blah. Celtics.
Anyways, I'm just going to skip to this. Hayward, the Hornets needed to do this because no one's going to be like, oh, Charlotte, let's go to Charlotte.
No, yes, they will. Now they actually will because Charlotte's finally building something. They got LaMelo Ball, Michael Jordan.
That's the point. They had to make this risk because now they have a decent core of LaMelo, Devontae Graham, Terry Rozier, Gordon Hayward, Miles Bridges, PJ Washington, which besides Hayward, they're pretty young, and it's a good core to build around. And they're starting to build something. But this is the risk the Hornets needed to take. They have not signed a big free agent in, I don't think, their entire existence. Al Jefferson, but that's when he was past his prime. So you had to make this risk. And I think there's a huge chance that Hayward's an all-star next year. Considering the East doesn't really get a lot of all-stars, but I think there's a good chance he will. But if you're the Celtics, as Ben mentioned, you can't sign that contract with him. I
don't think he'll be an all-star. Sorry.
I mean, we could bet on that.
Because LaMelo will have a higher chance of being an all-star than him.
I'm gonna strongly disagree with that one.
Okay.
I just think LaMelo's not going to play that much. Not that much, but he's not going to play a lot because they got.
He's going to start.
Hold on.
How would he not start? He's their number 3 overall draft pick. He's going to start. Who would start over him?
I mean, I think for the first couple of games they could start Rozier, and then if Rozier doesn't play good, because they're paying Rozier a lot of money, if he doesn't play good, they bench him. I think what happens with a lot of rookies out there.
But why doesn't they just put Rozier and Ball in the same starting court, and then Hayward, and then like who else? So they need a center, right?
They have Cody Zeller technically under contract. And
they need to get a center. They need to sign a center. Montrezl Harrell would have been such a great signing.
That's who I had in our draft stream. That's who I thought they were going to sign. But anyways, I'm going to go back to this topic.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I think this was a good signing for the Hornets. Huge financial. It hopefully doesn't turn out like Nick Batum's contract did. But for the Celtics, I'm not as worried. It's a huge loss, and I get a lot of Celtics fans didn't like Hayward, but it's still a tough loss. And yes, Eli, we're going to talk about the Hawks actually next, and might as well taste Rozier and Grant. There's actually a video out there that Rozier packed his bag and said, "Oh, it is what it is. It's a business we always move in." So people are speculating he got traded. So if he did, LaMelo probably for sure would start, but I don't know about that one yet. But yeah, so that's my thing with Hayward. Ben, what do you have?
It's definitely a gamble, that signing. I mean, for someone who's had the production that Hayward has had with the Celtics, and especially in this market where not a lot of teams have a cap space, I feel like it's an overpay. I mean, I would have been fine with this if it was like a 1 or 2 year thing, $30 million a year. But for 4 years, I see that being one of the worst contracts in the league potentially. But it could also have a lot of upside. I mean, the last time Hayward was not in a Celtics jersey, he was the best player on a pretty good Jazz team, and was one of the most coveted free agents when the Celtics got him. But then obviously, you can attribute it to the injury or the role with the Celtics and maybe the fit. It's just a gamble. So I'm not the biggest believer in it, but maybe Hayward will prove me wrong.
Andrew?
I already went.
Oh, yeah, it's a 50-50 for the Hornets. It's either going to work really well, or as Ben said, it could be one of the worst contracts in a couple of years. But it's a risk I think they had to take. Speaking of, well, this has anything to do with the risk. As was mentioned in the comments section before, the Hawks are making moves, folks. They signed Rajon Rondo, Danilo Gallinari. They offered him offer sheet to Bogdan Bogdanovic. Did they sign someone else? They drafted Onyeka Okongwu. They have John Collins, Trae Young. They have a good roster right now. They also signed Holden's boy, Chris Dunn. Holden was very upset when that happened.
Chris Dunn.
Anyways, the Hawks have made moves. So, Andrew, are the Hawks contenders now?
Contenders for what?
The Hawks are not going to win the championship, but are they are they a lock for a playoff spot?
Yeah, contenders, maybe contenders for a first-round exit. Like, I can't really see the Hawks going anywhere. I was thinking, like, why would Rondo sign with the Hawks? I'm like, obviously, I think it's because Chris Paul signed with Devin Booker, and then he's like, all right, I'm going to train Trae Young. And then I think he might sign with the Hawks because maybe he's going to have some sort of coaching position with them in the future, because obviously Rondo is going to become some sort of NBA coach after he's done playing. So I think he probably signed with the Hawks because he realizes, like, he already won 2 rings in his career. He's established himself. Now he just wants to find a good fit for him to really, like, train and teach these players. But I don't see the Hawks really contending for a playoff spot because there's so many other teams in the West that are just, like, right now I have a sheet of NBA teams. Like, Mavericks, I'll say make the playoffs. Clippers.
Well, the Hawks are in the East.
You're in the wrong conference.
Oh, yeah. I thought we were talking about – yeah, wait. Oh, my God.
Happens to the best.
I got the Suns confused with the – maybe. They're in the East, of course.
Yeah.
How?
Ben, what you got?
Yeah, I agree with that. They're definitely not contenders. But for a playoff spot, I say that they're probably going to make the playoffs, is what I'd say. Like you said, these are good signings, but they're all just role players at the end of the day. They don't have a star other than Trae Young and arguably Collins, although I would argue he's not there yet. But yeah, Gallinari's going to be good for them. Rondo, we know he's a winner. I think they can make a 7 or 8 seed in a weak East.
Yeah, I have my ceiling for them being a 5th seed. As Jose mentioned, though, there is Boston, Toronto, Philly, Milwaukee, Brooklyn, Miami. There's all those teams that are probably guaranteed playoff spots. If any of them, I think maybe Toronto might fall off if any of those teams wouldn't have made it. But I feel like for sure the Hawks made the right moves. Rondo, as Andrew mentioned, is an amazing mentor towards Trae Young. And I would be shocked if the Hawks don't make the playoffs. The Hawks GM finally said, all right, we developed you guys last year. We were horrible. So now we're going to actually give you some decent pieces to surround yourself with. And let's see what you can do. We got a good young center, good young power forward, good young – well, not young. We have a really good scoring small forward. We could potentially get a good shooting guard. And we got you, Trae Young, who's going to be the future of our franchise for the next 10 years, hopefully. So you guys need to go in. We can develop this core for about 3 to 2 years and maybe make it semifinals. I think that could be a goal for them for the next 2 to 3 years. But Eli, I know you're in the chat. I would be excited if I was a Hawks fan, especially this past few years. You guys have been miserably horrible. You guys are actually turning the corner. You have a good coach. You have great people in the front office. I think it's now time for the Hawks to start getting national media attention, especially Trae Young. Trae Young is a dark horse candidate for me for MVP. Dark horse.
Overrated.
I will say, I would have drafted someone other than Okongwu.
Oh yeah, yeah, that was a questionable draft pick in our opinion, actually. So, ice trade gang, yes sir. So we're going to end this stream with just a low bargain, maybe something that people saw and were like, okay, cool, whatever. But Ben, which was the best low-key pickup so far this offseason?
You were talking about how they did JaVale dirty. I really like the pickup of Marcus. I think he can, the Lakers always could use more shooting, and to get that from a center position is just more the bonus. And the Lakers are in win now mode, so the age really doesn't concern me. I don't think he needs to be a guy who's going to stick around for 4 years. And I really like the storyline of, coming after his brother, the legendary Laker, Pau Gasol. And
who should get his jersey retired, by the way, soon, right?
Yeah, for sure, it's got to happen eventually. But yeah, I've always been a fan of Marcus Gasol's game, actually. And I think he'll be a good fit as someone who can shoot. Just like I said, the Lakers always could use more shooting around LeBron.
All right, Andrew.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Avery Bradley to the Heat.
Ooh.
I feel like I was so upset because Avery Bradley obviously would have been really good in the playoffs, and they won without him. So it was probably good that they traded him for like what he was worth or what people can speculate that he was worth. Because again, it's all speculation. He hasn't played since a long time ago. So yep, and I think the Heat. I was like, the Heat haven't had that good of an offseason, but again, they are preparing for next offseason. So I think Avery Bradley was a really good signing for them. Andre Iguodala probably will not be with the Heat for like when Giannis if he goes there because he's getting older. So I think I don't know, maybe the Heat will be probably if the Heat will be to the conference finals. Like in 2022, like I said, 2022 is 2022.
Okay, I like both your guys' picks actually. I'm gonna go with Jay Crowder. We're gonna stick with him, a former Miami Heat player.
Yeah, Jay Crowder.
When Jay Crowder signed, it was kind of slid under the rug because a bunch of signings came in at once, and people were like, "All right, Jay Crowder, cool, solid pickup." That's actually a pretty good pickup.
He's a great player.
Phoenix is committed to making the playoffs this year. They have Chris Paul, which I mean, with that big contract, you kind of got to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Jay Crowder, Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton, what's his name? Cameron Johnson. They have a bunch of young people, and they also got a bunch of veterans now that they finally surrounded the team with. Jay Crowder is going to fit in perfectly there. I'd love to see that Jay Crowder, Chris Paul. They're both very into the game. Jay Crowder is very good on defense, so is Chris Paul. They'll help Devin Booker if he ever slacks on that end.
They'll double team him, and then they'll get mad.
Double team him in practice.
Oh, Leo has said the glorious one has returned. What's up, Leo? But yeah, I think the Suns are a team to watch out for next year. They're not going to win a championship. I'm not saying that, but they're not a team anymore that you go, oh, the Suns, we're going to get a win. Easy. You're going to have to earn one now, finally, in Phoenix. And I'm excited. I'm excited to see this league. Except for like maybe the Cavaliers and the Thunder, this league's like competitive. There's the Knicks are not doing Knicks things anymore. They're actually building a team.
Didn't they get Austin Rivers?
Yeah, but it was a very cheap deal, and it's a great signing for them. Like they're not doing these. Who was the best point guard on the market? Like Fred VanVleet. Let's offer him a $30 million max because he's the best player available. Like this guy's actually building a team, and this is perfect. Knicks fans are so happy right now. They're like, "Wow, we're actually trading for picks. We're drafting good people. We're not signing these amazing people." So it's just cool to see that the NBA is finally becoming like a good league. Like we had all those years of super teams where it was like, "Oh, maybe one team will beat the Warriors," and no one ever beat the Warriors, and it was like, okay, whatever. But now we have. Sorry, guys. Maybe the Clippers can dethrone the Lakers. Maybe The Nuggets are another sneaky team. I think they got a little worse, but they're not that much worse. The Nets are definitely a title contender if you have Kyrie and Katie on your team. I don't care how bad the locker room might be. You're definitely a title contender. There's just a bunch of teams just getting better. Miami's hungry, and they got a lot better in my opinion. So I'm just excited. Do you guys have anything else?
The Timberwolves, they got Ricky Rubio. Yeah. That's a pretty good signing.
I'm going to watch a lot of Timberwolves Game 6 here. They're going to have a very fun team to watch, in my opinion. They're not going to be amazing, but they're going to be very fun to watch. Do you guys have anything to add?
I just want to say another cool storyline is Kent Bazemore returning to the Warriors.
Oh, yes, sir. That's my boy. I love Kent Bazemore.
He's fun to watch. And, they could use some depth, so I think it'll be fun to watch him back in the Golden State uniform.
Oh, Philadelphia? Yeah. They have a pretty good team with Seth Curry, Danny Green, Dwight Howard. Good for Philadelphia.
Yeah, real quick, Jose, I agree. Grant and Craig are huge losses defensively, but I mean they still got JaMychal Green, which is a very good replacement. And again, another year of Jokic and Murray together. They're very young, and they're probably to get a lot better next year. So again, they're not going away. Are the Cavaliers still not competitive? No, they are not. They are not at all.
The Cavaliers, they're pretty competitive on eBay. They have cheap jerseys. People, if they get that, if you need to buy a jersey, dude, you need to go on. These are selling like hotcakes and low prices. I'm telling you.
There you go, Leo. If you want to see the Cavs competitive, just go on eBay. You heard it from Andrew. So I want to thank Leo, Jose, Eli, and everybody else who commented tonight. We appreciate all those questions and comments. We read them all.
Toby for life 24. 80 to sign with the Hornets. Oh, I didn't.
That's why I was like, all right, he's probably just trolling me. Even the trolls in the comment section. I appreciate you guys for coming out here and watching the stream. I want to thank you guys as well because we actually, our last stream, we gained 15 subscribers from it. And it's actually pretty cool to see. We're at 57, I believe the count was before today. So our next goal is 100, obviously. So if you guys can somehow get us to 100 in the next couple of months, that would mean the world to us. We are working hard. We'll be back more consistently with these streams. We were gone for a little bit, kind of like the NBA players. But we're back. We're going to try to do streams. Thank you guys for all the support on Spotify, Radio Public, or whatever you guys listen to us on, because our listenership has gone up a lot recently, and I appreciate that. So thank you guys so much for your support. Thank you, Ben and Andrew, for your insight as well. We'll be back probably next Sunday. We'll probably have a lot to talk about because this NBA offseason just got started. So I'm Daniel, and thank you guys so much for watching. Please like this video, like and review our podcast wherever you've been listening to. And thank you, Jose, for subbing and liking this stuff. That's all I got to say. So,
Lakers back to back.
Peace out.